Is about the current heat wave in the UK. And so these are 5 tips to stay cool during the heat wave. As you can see, I am boiling hot. So this is something that can apply to all of us. Number one, I would say, is to drink lots of water and make sure you stay hydrated. Um, and that includes the foods that we eat as well. As we know, there are fluids in fruit. So maybe increasing our intake of fruit and vegetables because we know that it contains water anyway. So I would include that in our water count as well. So um, stay hydrated throughout the day. Make sure that we have enough fruit and vegetables. Um, the other side to that is that we don't have too much processed foods because obviously that includes it can include a lot of salt, which then absorbs all the water that we've been drinking. So, it's kind of like a 50-50 thing going on there. Make sure we don't consume too much food that contains lots of sodium, which, absorbs all the salt, all the water, and also just to make sure that we're having enough fruits and vegetables. So I would include those two things in staying hydrated. I wouldn't just necessarily say being hydrated is just drinking fluids. I'd also include eating fruits and vegetables which contain natural water. The other tip is to so tip number one is to stay hydrated. Um, Tip number two is be mindful of appliances that radiate heat in your living space, in your working space. So if you know you've got lots and lots of lights on, um, obviously that generates heat as well. So perhaps maybe if you could minimize the amount of lighting that you use, recommend to maybe use a lamp instead of the overhead electric light bulbs. And if you've got anything else in your home that's radiating heat, I would recommend to turn it off, but definitely be mindful um, of heat radiating devices. For an example, if you use a dryer to dry your clothes, just be drying your clothes in the garden if you have one, as an example, so you're not generating all that heat from the dryer. um, Also, this is a tip number three. It may not be able, like, you may not be able to do this, but if you can try and avoid cooking in the hottest part of the day. So the hottest part of the day would be between 12 and 2, high heat, high weather. So between maybe 11:30 and 3 o'clock is the most hottest part of the day. So if possible, to try and avoid cooking at that time. I also cut my hair due to the heat, because I've got pores on my scalp that I need to breathe. Um, Tip number four, which some people have recommended, is to put in your bed sheets and your clothes in the freezer. I don't know if anyone's actually ever done that. I think I'll try and do that and see how that goes. But I don't know. I feel like because I've got lots of food in the freezer, I feel a bit unhygienic. What I might do is I might put the bed sheets and clothes in a carrier bag and then put the carrier bag in the freezer. I might do that and get back to you all. But yeah, another tip apparently is to put your clothes and your bed sheets in the freezer. And then a couple of hours before you sleep, you just it or just wear it. But yeah, um, clothes and sheets in the freezer. Um, the last two tips would be hello at Alfie Melody. How are you? Are you in the UK currently at the moment? And if you are, how are you coping with the heat? It is so hot. Okay, so my last two tips would be don't open windows and blinds or curtains during the day. So this is something that I try and enforce at work. Usually happen, and it's also something that I've begun to do at home. People, my husband is adhering to it. But what I do is I don't open the blinds during the day. I don't open the blinds in the morning. I open the blinds after 2 p.m. So I open it till I get in from work. Also opening the windows. I don't open the windows during the day. I open the windows like in the early morning, like 5 or 6 a.m. And I also open the windows after 5 in the evening. So I would say definitely not to open the windows or the curtains during the daytime. Sorry, but just no. So just keep them shut. I'm sweating buckets. Yeah, so those are my tips. I think that those, and if you have tips of your own, feel free to put them in the chat. But number one, stay hydrated, lots of fluids, drink lots of water. If you are drinking alcohol, monitor how much you drink, because falling asleep in the sun drinking alcohol is not safe. Hydrated includes eating fruits and vegetables, but definitely stay hydrated. Number two, I think some people, I haven't done so myself, but some people recommend putting bed sheets and clothes in the freezer before use. I will go. Number three, try, if possible, try not to cook in the more in the high heat of the day. So try, I'm sweating. So try not to cook between 11:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. So those like peak heat hours, try and avoid cooking. Thank you for liking the live. Yeah, so try and avoid cooking if possible between high heat, which is between 11:30 and 2 p.m. Also, as well, don't open your curtain windows during the day. So if you do want to open a window, open it between like, midnight and 5 a.m. But obviously, if you're opening the window during the evening, make sure it's safe. I only do that if it's safe to do so. Also, if you've got curtains or blinds, don't open them during the day. Just open them either before 7 a.m. or after 2 p.m. And I think that's it. Yeah. So those are my 5.5 tips to stay cool in the UK heat wave. Oh my gosh, I am boiling, 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 boiling. Yeah. Also, wear loose fitting clothes if possible. Wear loose fitting clothes because that helps keep cool. Um, and yeah, just the heat is. But yeah, so those are my tips for staying cool in the UK heat wave 2026. And if you've got any other ideas, feel free to put it in the chat. And hello at Lucha Avagara 4103. Are you based in the UK? And if you are, how are you staying cool? Honestly, it's boiling hot. Boiling, boiling, boiling. Oh, but it's also a good time to like burn calories, I must say. Hopefully I am burning more calories than I usually do. I've been walking a lot more. I don't go swimming anymore, unfortunately. Yeah, also I cut my hair really short because I was usually in wigs and stuff, but I need my pores to breathe. So I've cut my hair. Yeah, and these are just tips. Obviously, for some people with some health conditions, speak to your healthcare provider, speak to your doctor. If you need time off work, speak to your doctor as well. For women going through the menopause, this heat is just, if your workplace hasn't made adjustments, to factor in your hot flushes and stuff, speak to your doctor for a sick note. Obviously, for the first 7 days, you can self-certify. If you need time off work, because they haven't accommodated, you know, hot flushes and stuff during the heat wave, I advise you speak to your doctor or just not go into work until that's being put into bed, because you need to make your health a priority. Mm, enjoy. What are simple pleasures we enjoy? Oh, a cold bottle of Coke. Hmm, cold bottle of Coke right now. Cold bottle of Coke right now would be my simple pleasure. But yeah. So yeah, those are my tips. It is boiling. Be safe, everybody. Seriously. Also, as well, checking on any vulnerable people, any friends or family. Checking on people around you. Um, let's be each other's keeper. But yeah, this heat is unreal. This heat is unreal. But yeah, so those are my tips to stay cool in the heat wave for 2026. It's unbelievably hot. Please do check on your neighbors, check on any vulnerable family members, encourage one another to just to be safe. Another thing is that if you take public transport and you're on the underground train, if somebody does appear to be sick or unwell, I wouldn't advise to pull the alarm bell, because you don't want to be stuck inside the tunnel, because nobody will be able to get to you to help. So I would advise stabilizing that person, give them water, put them in the recovery position if needs be, start CPR. But I would say it may be more advisable to get them to the next station for support rather than putting that alarm, because it would just stop the train in the middle of the tunnel, the boiling hot tunnel. So yeah, just try and get to the next station and stabilize the person, give them water, start CPR, put them in the recovery position, just do what needs to be done. But I wouldn't recommend pulling the alarm and getting stuck there with no access to any help apart from the passengers around you. Yeah, so I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for liking the live. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate that. But yeah, so I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you for joining, and stay hydrated and stay safe and take care. Bye.